I'm really excited for this video because I have created my first Notion. Hello and welcome back to the product part where we talk about all things tech, business, startups, ideas, products, and everything related. So in the spirit of New Year's resolutions and goal setting and setting ourselves up for challenges for this coming 12 months, I thought it would be super timely and relevant for me to talk about how to set goals for your product management career, how to develop your own career plan. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I figure a lot of you are going to be going back to work in the coming week, as I am, and it's a great time to think about what you want to achieve at work this year, how you want to level up in your role, whether you want to go for a new role, whether that's a promotion or a totally different role. Like there are so many things you could do in the coming 12 months. It is a blank slate, and that is super exciting. And to make the most of that, it's really, really, really important to write your goals down. I'm really excited for this video because I have created my first Notion template, and this template is for product management, goal setting, and for career development. On a personal note, I love goal setting. I am one of those crazy people who has Trello boards and spreadsheets and documents for my goals. So what inspired me to do this was my own need. At my company, we don't really have a framework or a structure for creating goals. Each person is very much responsible for their own career development. That also means you figure out, between yourself and your manager, how you want to document your goals, how you're going to track them, how you're going to do your reviews, etc. So I created a simpler version of this Notion template for myself, and now I've kind of taken it to the next level so I can share it with you all. So in this video, I'm going to walk through this Notion template. I'm also going to show you some examples of product manager specific goals to give you an idea of how you can create your own. And then at the end, I will share with you how you can get your hands on this template. This template will be free, but only for a limited amount of time. So make sure you stay tuned till the end and you get your hands on it before it's not totally free anymore. Okay, let's talk about the different types of goals that you can set for yourself as a product manager. Now, I've come up with 6 different goal categories. So the 6 categories of goals that I have, just looking at my laptop, are product, process, team, leadership, knowledge sharing, and professional development. Let's quickly go through what each of those mean here, but you can find an overview of those on the template as well. So number 1, product goals are, these goals are related specifically to the products that you own. Anything around the development or the launch of features, of new products, of improving existing products, enhancements, but more specifically, think about the key metrics that you want to be improving or changing, and you want to measure against those. Okay, number 2 is process. So this is any goal related to the entire product development lifecycle. So remember, the product development lifecycle is everything from ideation of a product idea, is research, early design, requirements, roadmap, proof of concepts with engineering, breaking down those requirements into story, its development, testing, release. Like, that's the entire product lifecycle, not to mention then managing customers. So think about how you work in each of these phases. Are there specific weaknesses that you have in, let's say, the planning phase or in the working with design phase? So number 3 is team. So goals related to all the people that you work with. So one, this will be your engineering team, but this can also be a lot of other cross-functional partners. So you've got engineering, design, marketing, sales, maybe security, architecture, program management, legal, you name it. How do you want to work with each of those other teams? So goals related to how you want to work with them and maybe the impact that you want to have. 4 is leadership. Goals related to leading people, managing products, leading the vision piece for a specific product, anything where you have a greater level of influence, you're moving up towards management, and you're basically taking that route up. So number 5 is knowledge sharing. So these are any goals really related to you helping educate other people. I think educating other people is really important because product managers come from all sorts of different backgrounds, and we all have very different experiences with the different products or features that we own. And knowledge sharing across a product team is so incredibly important. because you're going to face similar challenges and you may find other people have solved them in certain ways, and you can really establish a reputation for yourself by being someone who shares knowledge with other product people, or even with engineering, or even with design. It's a great way to establish credibility, make a name for yourself, be known in your organization, be the go-to person for a specific topic that maybe you share knowledge about, etc. 6 is professional development, trainings, certifications, upskilling yourself in any way, goals related to that. There are 4 main sections to this template. 1 is goals, 2 is next steps, which is like your action plan for how you break down your goals. 3 is a hype doc where you write down all of your achievements, and 4 is quarterly reviews. This is where you track progress of your goals on a quarterly or even more recurring basis. You'll also find a section for examples where you can see how you might use this template based on the suggestions that I've made. All right, welcome to the template. For those of you who are Notion users, this is going to be much easier to navigate. If you're not familiar with Notion, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but it is totally worth it in my opinion. It is an incredible tool. I have a prompt here which says start here. This gives you a bit of a checklist to go through. I recommend you explore this template. I recommend you read the examples that I've provided before you actually start using this for yourself. So that should be useful. And then here we have the goal categories, which I went through earlier. Just a reminder in case you forget how to categorize the different goals that you have. Okay, the first thing you will be doing is writing your goals. So this is what the goals section looks like. It's a simple table view by default, and it has some key things about each goal. So you've got your goals here on the side. You've got a goal type. So again, these are the categories. You have a status for each goal. So have you started it? Is it completed? Is it maybe deprioritized? So you can put the status of each goal there. You've got a time frame. I've broken this up into quarters. I think that's most relevant for a work scenario, but you can change this if you need to. And then each goal links to an action item. This is really breaking down how you're going to achieve each goal. I'll show you an example of this soon. Then this can also link to a hype activity. I will go through the hype doc in a second, but this is basically any specific achievements you're proud of that have happened, regardless of whether they relate to a goal or not. But if they do, you can link it to one. And then you have reviews. So at the end of every quarter, you should do a review of your goals and how you track towards them. So this also links to those. Now you can change the view of your goals as well. So you can change to see your goals by type. So this lists the goals out by each category, or you can list out your goals in a Kanban board by their progress. You can also create other views. Again, if you're a Notion user, you will know this. If you're not, you will get familiar with it, but you can create other views for yourself if you like. But I think what I provided should be a really good start for most people. In order to add a new goal, all you need to do is click on New, add a new goal, and then that will create a page, and you can go through and fill in all of these details and write your goal details here. Okay, let's just do this as an example. Oops, you can next, you want to break them down. You want to have action items for each goal. So breaking your goals down is breaking them down into next steps or action items. I've used a variety of words here, but I think you will get the point. Some of your goals might be small and specific enough where you don't need to break them down, and that's totally fine. Other goals might be quite big. They could take one or multiple quarters, and they will be more achievable if you break them down into realistic items or tasks. So the default view for next steps is a Kanban board based on the progress of each, but you can change this. You can see a list of all action items, and again, you can add your own view as well. So I'm going to go back to the Kanban board. Now to add a new action item, you simply go whatever the action item is, give it a name, create that card, and you can click on that card
You can link it to a specific goal if you like. So let me link it to goal 3, maybe add a to-do list here, or you could just add description, and you can see action item 6 has shown up there. You can move this around your Kanban board as you progress. Something I love about Notion is how much you can customize this. So as an example, maybe if you wanted to add a due date or a target date to each of these action items, you could totally do that. And then you could make that due date also visible on the cards. The Hype Doc. So a Hype Doc is basically a place where you write down all of the good things that have happened to you in terms of achievements, what you're proud of, awards you've received, recognition you've had, positive feedback you've received, everything basically that you can refer to hype yourself up. That's why it is called a Hype Doc. And this is straightforward. It's literally just a table. When something good happens, write it down. This is a great place to come to if you're lacking confidence, if you need to remind yourself why you do what you do, if you're facing imposter syndrome. This can also be used as a tool for your performance reviews at work. If you have everything that you've already achieved and received feedback about when it comes to reviewing your performance at work with your manager, then you've done half the job already. So that's going to be useful. You know, add the date for the achievement, what it was. You can give it a tag. I've just created some default tags here. You can associate it with a goal if it links to one. It doesn't have to. And then, you know, if you have some proof like a screenshot or a link of some kind, then you can add that in too. And hopefully over time, this list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And then you can remember how awesome you are when you need to know it. And the last section is quarterly reviews. At the end of every quarter, you can come into this and you can do a self-review of how you're tracking against your goals. Again, this is something that if you do on a quarterly basis, it's going to be much easier for you to then share with your manager or, you know, insert into whatever performance review process your company has. I have left this as a pretty blank page, but there are some prompts here for you if you find them useful. You can go through and do that for each of the quarters for this year. Okay, and lastly, I have the examples. So I have example goals and example next steps. So let's go to example goals. This is just a table that I pre-populated with an example of 5 different goals that are specific to product management. Disclaimer, I created these on the fly. These are by no means specific or smart enough, but I wanted to show you what it could look like when you use the table, when you use this template, okay? So let's go through one of them. Let's say you have a goal for developing and socializing a vision and roadmap for a new mobile product offering. This one, it could be related to product, but it could also be related to process. I just put it down as process because you're in developing a vision, you need to do research, you need to do design, you need to create requirements. Like there is a lot at the start of a product development lifecycle in developing a vision. I've set it to in progress just as an example, and I've given it 2 quarters of a time frame because it can take a good amount of time to create something like that, especially in a larger tech company. Next steps would be really critical for a goal like this because it is so large. So I've only given an example of 2 things here, but one of the things I would definitely need to do as a complete starting point is market research and competitive research. So I've given myself that as a to-do. I've got another one which is drafting high-level requirements. Okay, and then I'll add another one just as an example. So let's say that I want to share requirements with design for initial mock-ups. Now let's say collaborate with design for initial mock-ups. So I'm going to create that as another action item, as you can see. This could also be really useful for sharing with your manager or when you're doing your performance review. Instead of just saying like, here's this end document that I created, which has the vision and the roadmap. You can demonstrate your process. You can show how you got involved in research, how you collaborated and worked with design, the process you went through for coming up with the roadmap. Like it shows your understanding of how you get from an idea to a vision and a roadmap, and that could be demonstrated by you putting it into next steps. I will add a link to the video description and this page to some websites that I recommend checking out that have great examples for product goals. They're very extensive, they span multiple categories, and you could get a lot of inspiration for how to create your goals from those.
So that was the walkthrough. I really enjoyed taking you through that. So how can you get your hands on this template? There is a link in the description, and I will most likely put some kind of screenshot here so you can see how to download it. You might have to submit some details like your name and your email address, but it will be free for a limited time, and definitely for at least a few weeks after this video goes live. Please let me know if this was helpful and share with me what goals you are setting for yourself in 2022, work related and or otherwise. I would love to know. Also, let me know if you want me to share my Notion template for how I manage everything else in my life. I use Notion for pretty much everything, and I think it would be really cool to share that template if you guys want it. A reminder, if you are on TikTok, don't forget to check out my account. It is called The Product Pup, and it's where I post daily videos all about tech, products, startups, business ideas, and everything related. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.